Oh, that wasn't the last lap. Fuck. So just sliding by in the last second there. A little frustrating. I did try to grab him with the pain attack though. That was I'll pull that one off smooth. Oh, it was a total breeze.
Let's go. Come on.
Thanks for laying down that paint for me, Volta. Really appreciate it. Jesus.
Let's go. Hold on. Ready? Come on.
Vanquish Embrace said,
Hey there!
"Evening, good sir."
How goes it? How's your night been going? I don't know if you've been catching much of RX's stream or
Vanquish
not. But
Embrace said, "It goes well. Watched RX for a bit and pissed myself laughing watching him freak out playing Outlast 2 XD."
yeah, he doesn't really do horror games. Oh, I totally beefed that one.
Vanquish Embrace said, I kinda wanna try the rum, but at the same time I'm drinking apple cider, so bad idea I think.
Like hard cider?
Yeah.
Or just regular apple cider?
Vampirish Embrace said, Cloudy Apple Summers by Cider.
Well, that doesn't tell me much. Does it have alcohol in it or not? That's really all I'm asking.
Vampirish Embrace.
Okay, it does.
So-
Alright, alright.
Yes, 4.5%.
It's hard to get good cider over here. A lot of the stuff is really weak. There's a, way back, almost around like the Civil War, there was a law enacted. If I'm correct, it was actually by Abraham Lincoln. Because he had buddies that, dealt with grains, and beer was not popular yet.
Let's go.
Most people were drinking cider, so then they started to, what was it? They imposed a heavy tax on any cider that was above a certain ABV. So, yeah, all the cider you get is really weak. Or, I can't say really weak. It's still a fair percentage, but not what it could be. And then people started turning to beer and whiskey because that was still cheap. And it's never quite recovered, which is a shame. I really like hard cider. In fact, that's something that my girlfriend and I are looking at. Like, we've made some. We're narrowing down a recipe, and we'd like to sell it at some point.
Vampirish Embrace said, turns out 80 proof is only 40%, so pretty much standard on that rum.
Yeah. Proof is just double the ABV. Ow. Man, when they have the tracks like mirrored or reversed, it sucks because... Later, losers! Ah, fuck. All the little signs on the guardrails saying, like, turn left! They're all backwards, so... yeah, sometimes you end up fucking yourself if you
Vampirish Embrace
have a blind corner.
said, the music is nice, I must say.
Yeah, I dig the audio in this game. There are some that I don't care for as much, but most of the BGM in this I really appreciate. Oh, well, I fucked myself on that one.
Vampirish Embrace said, drunk Halo 2 stream next week, perhaps TP few fun.
Sounds like a fun time to me. Oh, Sid, you jerk. You can't paint over everything. Oh, and Lucas too. Alright, guys. Well, it's nice to know that even the AI gets confused by those signs. Jesus!
Come on.
In the lore of this game, I guess you could say, Lucas actually used to be Kiara's partner.
Grace said, clusterfuck and a half right there, LUL.
Yeah, a mess, but hey, at least it's all the racers who got fucked and not just me, right? Previously, Kiara and Lucas used to be partners, and when they heard that the race was being bought out by this megacorp, they made a pact to both peace out and quit, to kind of like stick it to them, because they were the champions at the time. And Kiara retired, and then Lucas didn't, and there was a war, so Kiara got drafted, and Lucas just continued to race. So there's a lot of animosity between the two of them, which is quite understandable. If I can just go and pop him before we hit the final gate, then I'm good to go. Or I can just hold my lead, that'll work too. Second place is close enough for now.
Vanquishing Grace said, I'd hate to be drafted if another world war breaks out. I'd rather die on my own terms.
You know, if there's a world war and I feel like I'm either defending where I live or helping people, then it would suck, but I would be okay with it. I'm ineligible for draft now, I think. Between my age and my busted feet, I couldn't. But at least a lot of the crap that the U.S. gets involved in over here, they shouldn't be. It's absolute bullshit. And especially the Vietnam War, like, I feel sorry for every person who was in that, because that was horse shit. Not only was it awful, it was all built on a hoax. It was eventually declassified that the whole thing that was supposed to have been like the tipping point for it, the catalyst, this like aircraft carrier or battleship getting attacked. Nah, it was fabricated. It was just a reason to go to war. I just realized the color of her hair is corn snakes.
Ready?
Oh fuck.
Vanquishing Grace said, I could go to war if the reason was valid enough, I think, but most wars have had BS reasons.
Yeah, I'll agree with that. And it's like, I think when J.D. Heliquin was in here, we were talking about it, like I said, I had actually considered the military at one point when, like, I didn't have many options and I wasn't making any headway in life. But the thing is, I can't can't go and pull the trigger on somebody without proper justification. It's just, that's me. On the other hand, my brother's son-in-law, he's in the Marines. He does jobs he can't talk about, and he's like, yeah, I'm basically just a hitman for the government. And he's like, that's what I signed up for, and I'm okay with that. And it's like, hey, buddy, you know, I can't really hold it against you, you know. I mean, somebody's gonna do it. Somebody doesn't have to do it, but somebody's going to. There's always going to be somebody. And if that's his prerogative, then, you know, fine. He's making a living, and whatever. You know, I don't condemn him for his actions or choices.
Said. But fuck fighting Russia, you don't pick a fight with Russia. History has proven YLUL.
Well, but we've got global warming on our side now. Permafrost ain't permafrost anymore. Once permafrost melts, it's now just technically frost, right? That was smooth. I wish there was a map on here to see how far ahead or behind I am. Because, like, I feel like I'm crushing it pretty hard right now. I'm confident that I'm going to pull off first place easy. But I would really like to know, like, you know, are there any enemies near me? Do I need to keep saving my paint attacks? Or can I just, like, dump paint to get boosts or cover up enemy trails?
Weathermyth said, I think that somebody has to be a hitman for the government. We don't know how many potential bin Ladens were stopped before they had a chance to act, thanks to those hitmen.
Yeah. I mean, like, I know that there's plenty of places that have, you know, black label, like, off the books, you know. I mean, those operations where somebody goes in, it's like, yeah, if you're caught, we're just going to say we didn't send you in, you went on your own because we don't want to be held accountable.
Vanquish Embrace said, they swarmed Germany though they lost over 2 million cores. Sure, let's send them into MG42 fire. That's smart. They also shot a lot of their own for running away from said MG42 fire. What makes the MG42 so deadly is how fast it shoots. It basically superheats the rounds and they burn and shred.
Ready? Come on.
If there was a big war to break out right now, what do you think would be the craziest thing, like, not to happen, not like goofy or weird, like, you know, I don't know, Canada attacking Japan. I don't mean something like that. I mean, like, what would be the craziest sort of, like, battle to see between two nations? For some reason, China versus Russia sounds like it would be a clusterfuck of a mess that, like, all eyes would be on it just to see how it goes down.
Vampirish Embrace said, as for Black Ops units, that's the number one thing they tell you if you're caught. We'll deny you ever exited. That goes the same for snipers on covert ops as for crazy war. Maybe if Russia attacked the US. Weather Myth said, I don't think China and Russia would fight.
No,
Both are communist countries, China officially and Russia unofficially.
No, I'm not. I don't think they would. I do not think they would. I'm just saying if it were to happen for whatever dumb reason.
Vampirish Embrace said, China and Russia are military allies. They have a military alliance and trade.
Yeah, no, I don't think they would fight. I'm just saying I think that it would be interesting to see how it would unfold, because they're like just right next to each other. And you've got, totally different climates and tactics, but they're still very similar at the same time. With how they handle certain things, especially with like how overbearing they can be. I mean, any sort of communist government will,
Weather Myth said, Canada and Brazil would be interesting. USA would be Thule Battlefield LUL. Vampirish Embrace said, Putin would win a war. All he has to do is dance to rah rah rah.
yeah, that's true.
LUL.
Russia doesn't need to fight its battles. Putin just needs to dance. Oh, I love that video. Canada and Brazil, yeah.
Let's go.
And then the U.S. would just be the like angry, old man neighbor. He's just, you kids get off my lawn. Guys!
Weather Myth said, I just imagined Uncle Sam from posters yelling, get off my lawn.
Yeah. Move on. Okay. The way that the text of speech is reading your name, I thought it was something different.
Vampirish Embrace said, I mean, the US is always angry and has its fingers in many places, some we may not even know about. America.
Yeah. And the problem is, it's not always the government. Sometimes it's just corporations that are doing stuff and pulling strings at the behest of doing a favor for somebody.
Vampirish Embrace said, Eureka. WTFTTSLUL.
I don't think you're going to quite get the full Murica effect with this TTS. I think the closest you're going to manage is thank you, Boo. You are the best frog.
Vampirish Embrace said.
Volta, get off my ass!
Sounds like some weird version of Costa Rica.
I think if you want the text-to-speech to do the classic, like, Murica gag, you're gonna need to, like, spell it different, like M-E-R-R. I-C-K-A? That might do it?
Vampirish Embrace said. America.
That's closer. Man, I just got trounced out the gate with this one, didn't I? Although, to be fair, getting the yellow paint color in this desert level does not make it easy to try and see where the track is, because half the time it looks like you're going to just drift into the sand. We're right at the beginning. Let's start fresh. One of the things I will say is, like, it does seem like if you take an early lead, you... At least I fucked him as much as he fucked me. If you take an early lead, it does seem to pay off a lot.
Vampirish Embrace said, I wish Australia didn't have such strict guns laws. I'd love an M1 Grand or an M1 Carbine.
Yeah, not gonna lie, guns can be fun. For what it's worth, I am in one of the strictest states in the U.S. as far as guns go. And sometimes they're...
Vampirish Embrace said, go shoot me some wild piggies.
You know, we get those out here sometimes, and if you just go and pop them, you won't get in trouble for them. In fact, most of the time, law enforcement encourages it because they destroy real estate. So, even though you're supposed to have, like, a license or a tag, you're supposed to pay if you're gonna, like, drop a wild boar, they're like, nah, you helped us out. You want to keep it? Just keep it. Like, they don't care. But that's here, you know. That's not everywhere. And it's definitely not most of California.
Vampirish Embrace said, though if I shot one with a 50 calories rifle, boy, that would be messy.
Anything with a 50 cal is going to be messy. Like... But if you're smart, you can actually drop a boar with an air rifle. My brother's really into air rifles. Mostly because they're cheap. He's on limited income.
Vampirish Embrace said, I think we're allowed .308 as long as it's manual reload or semi-auto. We're allowed it on a license, I think.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Handguns are more trouble than, say, shotguns here in California, but every firearm has a waiting period. They're all expensive. You need to pass a safety test before you can get a permit to get a gun. You can't purchase a gun without having a certified safety qualification here, which is something I like. I think that's very important.
Vampirish Embrace said,
Yeah.
Texas, you can have just about whatever you like.
Yeah, Texas is crazy. Texas, you can have just about whatever you like. You can go in there and just buy it. I mean, the bottom line is, like, I don't think the caliber of the rifle is a big deal. It shouldn't be. Most types of firearms shouldn't be an issue. Handguns are controlled, and that's basically across the entire U.S. because they're so easy to conceal. But
Vampirish Embrace said, wait, can non-US citizens get one, or is it just if you live in the US?
you know, I don't honestly know. I've never looked that up.
Vampirish Embrace said, I'd love to go shoot at a range, though that'd be so much fun.
Ranges are okay. Well, it depends on which ones. The ones that are, like, near me are not that fantastic. In fact, they're kind of a pain in the ass. But we literally have places out in the desert here where you can just go out there and you know, pop off rounds. Just really no limits. The only thing is, you know, again, nothing illegal for the area or for the state. You know, fully automatics are a big no-no. Fully automatics are illegal. At least they are here. Last I heard, they were illegal in the U.S. in general, but I haven't kept up on that because that's not something I can, you know, afford to... Jesus! Not something I can afford to get anyway. Not to mention it wouldn't do me any good here. No, there are certain states where it is legal. I believe Arizona is one of the states where you can have a gun that's full auto. And that's one of the things, like, as fun as they are, those do have a lot of potential to hurt people, and that's one of the things where I'm like, I'm sorry, like, I think that's something that needs to be controlled.
Vampirish Embrace said, any gun can kill, but guns don't kill people. People kill people. Don't blame the equipment, blame the individual.
No, you're right there. You're absolutely right there. The thing is, like, there's a balance to anything between, like, you know,
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what to call it. Like, anything that's high risk, like, you know, there's a reason you have driver's licenses, because it's very easy to just plow a car through a house and take out the entire family that's inside, right? You don't drive unless you have a license because, you know, or you don't get a license unless you can prove that you know what you're doing and aren't going to hurt people. And the thing is, unfortunately, with firearms, at least the way it's set up right now, it's much easier if somebody buys one to go and just, like, you know, essentially get a street sweeper and take out a crowd. I think the big fix, and something that I think honestly would not only mitigate the whole issue with gun violence, but would help the world as a whole, is getting not only, like, regular physicals with your doctor, but, like, regular mental checkups with a therapist, showing where your head's at. It's my understanding that, like, in Japan, if you're going to get a firearm, they essentially do a background check, and they not just a quick background check, but an in-depth, like, it's a process to get a license for a firearm. And then every so often you need to go in and you need to continue to get checked on to make sure, like, are you okay? Because, let's face it, the thing that people are afraid of with gun violence is not, like, getting robbed or mugged. It's about people losing their shit and blasting away a crowd. If we're going to get down to brass tacks, it's a lot easier to take out a crowd with explosives than it is with guns. It doesn't take much to make explosives at home, but it's much easier to go out and buy, like, a full auto and go nuts with it.
Vanquish and Brace said, I mean, I could throw a hammer at someone, and if it hits their face it could kill or seriously injure them, and yes, great idea, but will it happen anytime soon?
I mean,
likely not.
No, that won't happen anytime soon. I'm just saying, like, that would be the best way to remedy the situation. As far as the hammer goes, like, I get what you're saying, but it's one of those things it really is a matter of, like, how much damage can, you know, we don't need to regulate hammers, but that's because even if you're throwing hammers around, you need to lug them around. You can only throw one at a time. That's why I'm saying, like, you know, firearms, I don't have an issue with. Full autos is where I'm more concerned about, because if somebody has a regular firearm, how many times can they pull that trigger? They need to manually pick at that trigger in order to cause destruction, but with a full auto, they literally just squeeze it and go over a crowd of people, and it's almost as bad as an explosive, you know. It's how much destruction can it cause at any one given time where you have that risk factor. And I think if you did have the proper checks and balances, like
Vanquish and Brace said, if they had an M249 saw, yeah, game over, that thing will mow down anything.
Well, I mean, if you end up with something as simple like as a Thompson typewriter, or just a fully automatic pistol with a machine pistol with a large magazine, that can still just take out a whole group of people. You go into a mall and you hold down that trigger and just wave it back and forth. People dead everywhere, you know.
Vanquish and Brace said, G18 would do it, that's a full auto, I think.
Volta, come on! was an awful start. We'll just redo. Bouncing around and then getting pinned against another racer? Nah. That was weird. And just because you have a certain type of firearm doesn't mean it has to be full auto. I mean, technically you can make any firearm full auto with the right mods, or you can make it, you know, semi-auto with the right D-modifications. There's a lot that goes into that.
Vanquish Embrace said, or an M4 that has several fire mods from semi to full auto, but even burst fire could do a lot of damage to people, but I believe those are military and law enforcement weapons.
Yes, you are correct there, and that's, you know, those are limited to very specific personnel. You know, my girlfriend is a little more adamant about, you know, what she can or can't do than I am, honestly. And she's like, you know, it just sucks that, like, you have these assholes out there causing problems, and we're the ones who have to pay for it. And it's like, yeah, but, you know, look at it the same way the whole, like, coronavirus thing is going down. You know, the reason I wear a mask and gloves when I go out, it isn't about me, it's about protecting everybody else around me. If I do get sick, I'm 95% sure that I will get through it with next to no complications. I'm not worried about me. At first, I was, in fact, very blasé about the whole thing. Just like, who gives a shit? And then as I thought about it more, I was like, that ain't right. Because it's not about me surviving, it's about, you know, who I might kill because I infect them. And it's kind of the same thing here. Like, yeah, you know, I totally want to be able to play with all sorts of crazy firearms. But by making sure that, you know, by making sure that I can get my hands on them easily, it means that other people can, which puts, pardon me, certain other individuals at risk. In the end, it really is a matter of, you know, how do you...
Vanquish Embrace said, provided you dispose of those gloves and don't keep them on, remember those gloves are good for one use only.
Well, yes and no. The gloves that I have are actually like pleather fabric gloves. The mask is much more important than the gloves are, but the gloves, again, I reuse them, but I clean them. As long as, I mean, yeah, the mask is the bigger issue, and of course that can be reused. I don't have a full proper mask. I was working on one, it kind of fell by the wayside. I really need to finish it up, but at this point it almost doesn't matter. But yeah, the gloves that I have...
said,
Yeah.
good thing I'm an introvert and a hermit. I barely go out unless I have a reason to do so, or I want to go out and do something. Vanquish Embrace
Same here. Same here.
said, I knew it would pay off one day, LUL.
Seriously? That was the last race? That wasn't even that big a deal. Let's reverse those in mirror, and then those are the standard. Man, it was more of a pain in the ass to actually get to the
Vampirish
races
Race
than it was to
said,
play them.
wait, did you just beat the game?
Basically, there's no other chapters after this. The only thing I can do is go back and get more race tokens, which doesn't... Like, I don't know what the fuck I'm supposed to do with race tokens. I think those are just, like, awards to show how much you've unlocked.
Vampirish Embrace said, Speed Brawl.
Yeah, it's just a little disappointing to hit this point and then just be like, okay, and I win, I guess. How would you win infinite laps? Alright, let's try 5 laps with hard AI and just see how well I do.
Ready?
I mean, don't get me wrong, this thing is cool, but I feel like the game is kind of like 9/10 the way done. There are certain things that need to be refined a little bit. All in all, I like it. It has a lot of potential. I think they just need a little more focus on it.
Said, what you drinking there?
Dr. Pepper and New Amsterdam vodka. This stuff is good. Really smooth. Really smooth. Ugh.
Ready?
Thanks, Lucas. Fucker.
Vampirish Embrace said, I haven't had vodka in so long, but rum, good man, like rum.
Yeah, no, rum is definitely my go-to, but I picked this up kind of last minute, and it was the price was right, and it's a good quality vodka, so I went for it. They actually make a variant that's 100 proof, and it's super, super smooth. Man, I sucked. Although I don't know how much that was me or just a shitty start.
Said, I'll take good vodka for 500, Alex.
Dang it, man.
Losers! The MVP was Boo. So I could have done better, but as far as difficulty against the AI, it didn't feel that intense either. Well, I am. Let's see here, man. It's almost 4 in the morning. Shit, I should be sleeping soon, but yeah, I'll man. I'm not sure. I just picked up Knights of Pen and Paper 1, 2. I've played 1. I have that for my phone. But I've got that. I've got 2. And I've got Galaxy of Pen and Paper. I'm tempted to play some of those to try and wind down for the night. Or speed roll. I'm not sure. But I don't really want to play more than an hour. That's it. At most. So I am going to cut the stream right now, use the bathroom, grab smoke, see what tickles my fancy, and I'll be back in a bit.